Start our city council meeting. This evening we normally start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and if I could please have our young scouts come forward and they'll help lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Then if everyone would remain standing immediately after, we'll have our invocation this evening brought by Councilman Thompson. If you gentlemen wouldn't mind introducing yourselves and your rank real quick.
I'm Nathan Gandy and I'm a star rank.
I'm Braden Corbo and I'm starting.
Donna Bolton, first class.
Nathan Sickler, star rank.
Very good. Well, welcome. Braden is one of my neighbors, and I'm glad that you guys all came to our meeting tonight. So if you'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow as we pray. Father, in Proverbs, your word says that the mind of man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. So, Father, tonight we ask as we talk business and we talk about the decisions that need to be made in reference to this city and the citizens of the city, I pray that you would guide our steps. Father, give us wisdom and guidance. We ask that you be with us and you bless us tonight. We thank you for this council. We thank you for each staff member and each employee of the city. We thank you for this city and the people that live here. Father, thank you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Rolling right along, we'll move into opportunity for citizens to address the City Council about items that are not on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone who would like to stand and address the City Council? Seeing none, we'll move along to the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes the minutes of the January 28th City Council meeting, claims for city operations, 2019 drug and alcohol funding recommendations. Is there anything to be pulled by the staff? Any questions, concerns from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, clarifications? Seeing
I
none?
appreciate once again the work that goes into producing this.
Very good. Vote, please.
Reeves?
Here. Yes. Trying to get my Wi-Fi going here, okay? Knock it off.
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Boyd?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Mackey?
What? Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip, your motion passed.
Very good. On to our regular meeting agenda, the item number 1, a resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in amount not to exceed $16 million. Staff.
Kelly LaPlante, Finance Director. We have Adrian Serene with Kudak Rock, our bond counsel here tonight, and he'll answer any questions and talk about this.
Tilly. Mr. Mayor, City Council, Adrian Serene, QTAC Rock, Bond Counsel for the city. The resolution before you tonight is the project authorization for the 2 projects that are being considered together that Mr. Ardberry talked about a couple of weeks ago. It's the City Hall and the police facility. So this resolution here basically deals with the city's blessing, the city's okaying of those 2 projects considered as one here to go forward. So this is sort of the first step in a longer process that would involve us coming back in April with a sale resolution, which would authorize us and the city and Mr. Barry and George K. Baum go forward and sell the bonds. And then we would come back again in May to report back to the council on the results of that auction and talk about what rates were achieved by auctioning off the bonds. So one thing I did want to point out is that this particular resolution doesn't authorize the issuance of the bonds. It just authorizes the project. So, this will give direction to the city staff, direction to our firm, direction to George K. Baum to prepare the rest of the documents that we'll be bringing back in April and May. And stand here for any questions that you might have.
Very good. Thank you. Anything else seeing nothing else? Anything from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the issuance of GO bonds in the amount not to exceed $16 million.
Second.
So moved and seconded, and we'll start with questions, concerns, comments, starting down here, sir.
Do we have any feeling for if the engineering and design work, the 1.1 million that we had previously authorized, is that still going to be within budget? Do we have any feeling for where that stands?
I think, yeah, it'll be within budget. I think we still have reimbursable utility.
Yeah, we've budgeted for those payments. They began this year. Those were issued last year, so those payments started this year and they were included in the 2019 budget.
And was that 1.1 a not to exceed amount?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think it was like $1.8 million was what was actually, it was, 1.1 was a maximum. Those were issued earlier, and those were worked into our 2019.
Right, so I remember talking about that. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Ma'am?
Continuing on that, so the one, your guess is 1,008,000? Is that what you were saying with 1.8?
I believe so, yes.
Is that, we've already paid for that part? Like that's, so the 16 million is
In addition.
separate tranche? So we're going to be issuing 17,100,000?
We've already issued the 1.8. So that was to do the design work. So that's,
okay.
That bucket's already done. We budgeted for that, continuing budget for it. This is a separate. This is just the construction cost of these construction costs.
Gotcha.
Which would be a separate bucket as far as future obligations.
Okay. On the 16, why was I thinking of something at 14?
The 16 is like the total project cost. That's not net of the tax credits for the historic part.
Oh, okay, so we get those and then we can sell those in addition or after the fact?
Right. And it
Okay.
also doesn't include any property acquisition or construction administration in the financing piece because we've got funds on hand that we budgeted in this year.
Correct, we had already
So the
thought to use for.
the piece to be financed is closer to the 14 million that David Arterberry talked about last week. In the project authority, we included basically the total construction piece of it.
Okay.
Not the 1.1, but
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be able to, like, do we refund that money or does that money just go into our budget if it's under? If we're able to get the project in at like 12 or 13?
Adrian, I don't know if you want to speak to this in terms of the flexibility of this amount. I mean, this is essentially to give you all clarity to prepare the documents, but this number is somewhat achievable in the event that bids come in at a lower price, things like that.
Sure, yeah. Happy to speak to that, yeah. So this is, the 16 million that's here, it is separate from the 1.1 that was issued last year, and those are already out the door. This is just the project cost, the project authorization. The actual sale resolution that we come back with in April, and then eventually the bond resolution we come back with would probably be $14 million or somewhere in that neighborhood. And then, of course, with respect to the project being authorized up to 16, that's just indicating that the city can spend up to that amount of money as the bids come in.
Like a line of credit then.
It's possible to come in less than that. That's the hope, of course.
So it's set up as a line of credit, sort of, or like are we going to be doing the project, we'll finish it first and then get bonds, or we're getting the bonds first, right, and then starting construction?
Right, yes.
So how does that fluctuate, or how do we have a fluctuatable, like, amount in there?
Well, we don't have an exact amount on the bids yet, and so we're getting financing to cover what those bids would be, and those bids are going to be less than this amount. So that's why we're covering our contingencies. So 60 million is a not-to-exceed amount. That would include the interest and all the costs to do these bonds and all that, plus the construction and acquisition. So The project cost is going to be a portion of that. The cost to do it will be a portion of that, bringing it up to an area, to a figure like what he just mentioned. And that's what the amount of bonds will be. That we won't just do $16 million worth of bonds when we only need $14 million.
Yeah.
We'd only do $14 million worth of bonds and not do the other two and stick it into the paying it.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to process all that. So are we expecting to have all bids by April then?
We should have. Sean, if you're nodding your head, I'll let you take it if you want. When we come back in April, I think we have that set up for April 8th. We'll have a little bit more precise number that we can deliver, and it'll be considerably less than what we're looking at right now.
Okay, that makes way
That's
more
just
sense.
issuing the bonds as opposed to authorizing the $16 million for the project.
Gotcha. Are we still going to be able to see those bids before they come in?
So the calendar that was distributed last council meeting that kind of went through the financial sort of milestones, that kind of lays out, as Adrian stated, some of the financial aspects. But we're working towards, on the architectural side of it, as far as the project is concerned, is to get that out to bid in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be advertised out in the newspapers, all that fun stuff. It will be reviewed for consistency with the bid documents, and then will be brought back to you all to approve that, just like how we do street construction. So we go out to bid, we bring those back, you'll see what those costs are. There'll be a recommendation off of those bids, obviously, from staff to say this is who we recommend you go with, but at the end of the day, all those prices would be something that would be for your guys.
Okay, so we will be able to look through those as well with you guys.
We won't probably give you the full Monty of the entire bid package.
Yeah, I understand that part, yeah.
But you'll see what the costs are broken out for these projects.
Gotcha. If we wanted to see that as council people, could we get those from you, or like, say, would I be able to see those from you, the construction documents?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it'd be, it's a public record, more or less, to the extent that we're going out to bid. There'll be all the different agencies that we're bidding on.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we open those bids, they'll be opened up here. I can't remember if it was open to something. So it's an open bid. As far as the public being able to come and attend that, to council is obviously welcome to come to that. But ultimately, it'll come back to you in this forum for you guys to approve or to review what those costs are.
Okay, thank you much. That's all mine, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, nothing? No other questions or concerns? Vote, please.
Kip?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Reeves?
I'm thinking about it. Yes.
Mackey?
Yeah, yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Motion passes, Mayor.
Very good. Another step along the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On to the next item, our property acquisition contract. Staff.
Amber McCullough, Community and Economic Development. I have a contract before you this evening for the city to acquire 214 Maple, which is the apartment building behind City Hall here, so that we can use that parcel for our government services center. Currently, there are no residential tenants in the building.
Wow,
There
that
are
was
two
quick.
commercial tenants. One is set to move this week, and one more will have until the end of the closing period. But we don't foresee any issues with that one. They've been aware of everything during our negotiation. I believe the action before you says $250,000. If I could request that you make that $252,500. In final negotiations, we agreed to bump it up a little bit to pay for the appraisal that they wouldn't have needed had we not requested.
252.5?
252,000. And we're set to close at the end of March.
Anything else? Seeing none. Any citizens have any comments concerning? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve execution of a contract for the acquisition of 214 Maple in the amount of $252,500.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start down here, sir. Sir? All right, vote please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, somebody coughed.
Stevens?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes.
Very good. Another step along the way, so baby steps, right? We'll move on to our reports. This evening's city manager's report.
Reminder, next Monday, city offices will be closed in observation of President's Day. Also want to thank my staff report, the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. The city, our police department has been very vigilant about ensuring safety within our neighborhoods. That resulted in a warrant being served last week. All in all, it was approximately 6 hours of a standoff between this individual and our police department, in which we needed to call on the assistance of other agencies to come to our aid. In particular, we don't have a tactical unit to go in and deal with these situations as they arise. Again, after countless hours of trying to get a hold of some different agencies to assist us, it was Johnson County Sheriff's Department that showed up. So I just really would like to thank those folks for coming over here, as well as just Johnson County for having that resource and allowing us to use it here. Also, tomorrow night in this council chamber, we'll be having a water and then sanitary sewer master plan. Again, we're doing both a water master plan and then a sanitary sewer master plan. But we'll be having a meeting in here tomorrow at 5 to 7 to go over some of the particulars of the plan as it's being developed currently. Look forward to having folks come and talk with the consultants that are doing that. They'll have some exhibits just to kind of show generally where lines are at, where some proposed improvements are going to be, and then just some general information about that process. And then last, and this is, I think, just a neat thing, Fountain Day, the Unified Government is turning back on the fountain up at the Wyandotte County Historical Museum in Bonner Springs here. So this is a 115-year-old piece of history that's located here in Bonner that has been off for the last 10 years. And I just think that that's a neat thing to get that back and going, but that'll be on April 9th, 2019. So I'll try to get some more information as it becomes available from the Unified Government. But again, a neat little asset that we have here in Bonner Springs. With that, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful. We'll go ahead and start with the city council items, and we'll start down here with Councilman Reeves.
Nothing this evening.
Very good.
No, I just have one question for Sean. On the, you're talking about the, the response team and, the incident that happened to Alcott. Did the other agencies, did they just not have manpower available, equipment available, or were they just didn't want to?
The latter. Yeah, we contacted a lot of different agencies that have those types of pieces of equipment. Unfortunately, a lot of those requests went unanswered, obviously, for different reasons. All in all, like I said, this was a 6-hour ordeal. But we were fortunate again to have them come over and help us out in this particular instance. We've had other agencies come in and help us out previously as well.
I think the last time I remember, Lenex, I think, came over.
Yep, yeah. They have a Bearcat, which is a military sort of apparatus that we've deployed. So again, I think this just underscores a few different things. One, that this might be something that we need to look at in the future as far as whether or not we need to look at deploying a similar type of piece of equipment. as we've had to deploy it, and obviously a 6-hour time to lay out something like that in the neighborhood isn't necessarily the best scenario in the world. But also it's to underscore the importance of ensuring that we've got some level of cooperation across these different jurisdictions or agencies.
Well, hopefully they truly appreciate, or know that we appreciate them helping us. So that's it.
You don't happen to have a time on Fountain Day yet?
I don't have a time necessarily. I just have the date from the UG, but like I said, hopefully I'll get something out again once I get an actual time frame. I think they're trying to make it a little more ceremonial.
Thank you.
As it should be.
No, I just have something I'm going to ask Tilly about. It's a number thing.
Okay.
I'm going to put a plug in for the Tiblo Talk again. It's, I forgot, you need to renew your subscription in January. I forgot to do that. But if you have not, please do that, and please support. If you do not have a subscription, has anybody missed January's? I have one for
Guess I need to
February.
renew my subscription.
February is, there's a very interesting article, this Black Awareness Month, and then also talking about the cemetery and the Civil War soldier that they're trying to kind of reclaim the cemetery, and there's a good article about that. And Travis is kind of leading, or what would be the right term? I don't know if he's leading the way on it, but he's a big part in that. And so that's pretty significant and all that's in. So please support the Tiblo Talk. Does anybody need February's?
Read mine yesterday.
You got it, okay. All right, thank you.
Very good. Sir?
Nothing this week.
Good. That's sir.
There is going to be a cleaning of the cemetery in March. Our church and the city of Edwardsville is going to try cleaning it. And Brad wants to know about it, so I'll keep him.
The city of Edwardsville is going to clean our cemetery?
No, clean the veterans of the...
Oh, very good.
When you
said our...
An isolated one,
Yeah, that is down in Edwardsville.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Thank you all very much. On to the mayor's report. Piggybacking on to your support of the Tiblo Talk, I also like to make a few announcements from the library. The library's, I got an e-blast newsletter, and it doesn't seem to want to come up as quick as what I'd like it to, but they're having a, yeah, here it comes. If I could get down to it. Tomorrow evening on February 12th, the Von Trent Community Services is having a community cooking and meal. So where there'll be instruction on cooking as well as a nice meal. It'll be at the United Methodist Church, and you can contact Von Trent Community Services. Also, the Bonner Springs Historic Preservation Society's annual dinner will be March 8th. Friday, March 8th. Their next meeting is February 14th on Valentine's Day, and it's a combined meeting with Monticello, and their speaker is Friends of the Call. So that'll be a nice program. And then also I wanted to make mention that the Bonner Springs NAACP is having a talent show competition and soul food dinner February 16th, this Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. And the admission is 1 can of food at Christ First Ministries, 229 Nakoni. It'd be a great opportunity to start celebrating Black History Month. And those are all in the library's happenings, but frequently those are promoted by the same staff that has the newspaper.
I think so.
Yeah, and Tiblo Talk also. So, other than that, I have a meeting planned with the Wyandotte and Johnson County mayors. It was canceled for weather last week, and so it'll be coming up the first part of March. And the Johnson, or the Wyandotte County Mayor's Breakfast will be later this month, Friday after next, and look forward to communicating with all of those local area leaders and bringing any information back that we might need. Saw here recently there was some information on from KDOT on use of their highway right-of-ways for banners or that type of entrance notification, and so I'll be, unless you guys have received the same email. Okay, very good. I'm looking forward to hopefully helping to utilize that to on the next time that we upgrade our highway signage, as especially on the entrances to Bonner Springs. Bonner Springs has a rather large footprint, and not all the entrances to Bonner Springs are as recognizable for those that are coming into our community. Bonner has about 26,000 vehicles that pass through the major intersection at Kansas 7 Highway and Kansas Avenue. Pretty significant amount of traffic that's coming in and out of Bonner Springs on a regular basis. So
I do think we ought to have T-shirts that says Bonner Springs, the last free exit.
Yes.
There's signage there.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there. We'll put that through to tourism, I guess.
214.
Economic development. Yep. Other than that,
I like that.
Other than that, I don't have any other additional information for anyone unless they have questions for me. I understand there's a basketball game coming on pretty quick. Want to make sure I appreciate everyone holding their discussion that are basketball fans. So we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Our 9th tourist attraction. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. If you need any other information or